Good morning. I hope you're well, and happy New Year's Eve. As we move towards a new year, you know, it's still the Christmas season, still in the 12 days of Christmas. So I thought this morning we'd look at the fulfillment of an Old Testament prophecy to remind us that God has a plan, and as we move into 2022, God has a plan for all of us. So let me read you a couple of scriptures. Firstly, from Hosea in chapter 11, it said, "When Israel was a child, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called my son." And then in Matthew, in the New Testament, in chapter 2, starting at verse 12, it says, "And being warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed to their own country by another way. Now when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, Rise, take the child and his mother and flee to Egypt, and remain there until I tell you. For Herod is about to search for the child, to destroy him. And he rose and took the child and his mother by night and departed to Egypt, and remained there until the death of Herod. This was to fulfill what the Lord had spoken by the prophet, Out of Egypt I called my son." And there's times of challenge in all of our lives when we feel overwhelmed and we feel lost. And in these times it can be difficult to see God's plan. You know, how can anything good come from such a horrible place? And it's good to know and be reminded that we've got strong biblical evidence to show us that we can be assured that God is not caught off guard. In fact, he's already preparing behind the scenes to bring restoration and healing and provision to our lives. You know, we read the prophecy from Hosea, and it was over 700 years before the birth of Christ. Out of Egypt I called my son. You know, and if we think about the timing of this prophecy, you know, if we were to put ourselves in the shoes of those who at the time were eagerly awaiting the future Messiah, they were probably thinking, why Egypt? Isn't that the place that our ancestors had to escape from? But God knew. God knew something that no one could have known about the future, that he'd already made a plan to overcome. And in the events surrounding the birth of Christ, we'll remember well that, you know, King Herod ordered the killing of all male children under the age of 2, you know, when he was concerned. You know, he was concerned about the prophecy of a new king who was going to be born in Bethlehem. He was intimidated and scared of Jesus' birth. So Joseph, Jesus' earthly father, was warned in a dream to get up immediately, and he was told, you know, by an angel to flee to Egypt with his wife and son. And Joseph did. He obeyed. He obeyed the warning, and he saved the life of Jesus. And I think it's interesting, you know, that Egypt was also the place that a different Joseph was sent to ultimately preserve the Israelite people centuries before that. You know, we can take comfort in knowing that God is always ahead of us. He knows things about the future that we have no way of knowing. But we can rest. We can rest in his plan, and we can rest in his love for us. And if we ever need a reminder, I encourage you to turn to Romans 8, and in verse 32 it says, "He who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for all of us, how will he not also along with him graciously give us all things?" God has a plan for your life and mine. And as we enter in a new year, I pray that 2022 will be full of excitement, of spiritual growth, of restoration, of peace and joy. I pray that most of all for you and I, that we will follow Jesus into 2022 and throughout 2022. God bless you. Have a great day.